Hi.
Welcome to the Newbie Homeschooler Hangout session. And sorry about that. Welcome to the Newbie Homeschooler Hangout session, and we basically set this up for our newbie homeschoolers that are in the group or just anywhere in general, so that they can ask their questions to some more seasoned homeschoolers. And so we set up a group of homeschoolers to answer their questions. And I have some questions here, and if there's anyone in the chat room that has questions, they can also ask their questions as well, and we'll do our best to answer them. So I'll pretty much just host this or control this so that I'll ask the question, and then I'll just call on one of our co-hosts or panelists or whatever you want to call it to answer the question, and we'll do it that way. And we have one newbie homeschooler that's in the group right now, so if you have any questions, go ahead and post your question in the chat to that question as well. Okay? So first, I just want to start off and let everyone who is in here introduce themselves. So we'll start with Kepra.
Greetings. You all know me. This is Kepra, homeschooling mama of 6. We've been homeschooling for 9+ years, and we reside in southern New Jersey. And that's about it. Greetings to everyone.
Hi.
Cheyenne.
What's a homeschool session without a homeschooler?
Okay, and we're going to move on to the Hawkins Academy. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, my name's Ayana.
Is she here or is she muted?
Oh, I'm muted like a dummy.
Okay, I guess she's muted. And,
okay, here we go. I'm good.
Okay.
My name's Ayana. I've been homeschooling now for 6 years. I have 3 children. My youngest hasn't started yet. Again, we're all new. We're not new, but everybody, has their own good things and then some things we can work on. So this is for everybody, new and old, to join in and just get as much help as you can possibly get from us. Or, you can help us. So we'll take it as that. And I'll pass the mic to Tawana.
Uh-oh, I think we're having some difficulties with her. We'll come back to her when she gets her microphone and everything set up. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Latia, and I've been homeschooling for about 9 years as well. I have 7 children. One is a new baby, so it's not yet, but I am still learning. I have a lot to offer from things that I've learned to do and things that I've learned not to do. So, just a lot of trial and error in my journey in homeschooling. So, I'm here to learn as well and gain whatever I can gain and offer whatever I can offer. Are you back up, Tawana? No, we can't hear her. Okay. If you want to try to log back in and out, you can try that, and we'll do that. So, and then we have a newbie homeschooler in here. Do you have your mic on?
Me?
Vasha?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Vasha Day. I am a mother of 2. My children are 3 years old and 2 years old. The whole idea of homeschooling is totally new to me. I'm a total newbie to all of this. It's something that my husband and I decided that we felt was going to be best for our children. He wants to keep them completely out of the U.S. school system altogether. And we are completely open to various types of homeschooling, such as the virtual online or cooperative, where they may go 1 or 2 days out of the week to someone else's homeschool. So anything at this point that will help them progress forward, we're all for it. And like I said, mine are 2 and 3, so we're still at the preschool, kindergarten stages, but they, as all children do, pick up very, very quickly. I think it's more me that doesn't pick up so quickly. I think they're more advanced than I am. Just some of the things that, kids say. So I always have a lot of questions, and I'm always open for help and feedback and information. Just bear with me because this is a lot for me, and I will be honest and sometimes say, wait, I'm feeling overwhelmed because we were the couple who never expected to have children, and then we were the couple who expected for both of us to be working so the kids would be at daycare or school or wherever. And once they got here and we saw them, our minds just totally changed about what we wanted to do for them. So I think I get more overwhelmed than the children do. So just, like I said, just bear with me on my crazy questions.
Oh, no problem at all. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll get started with the questions. And the first question is from Ariana. And she said for those that are teaching pre-K and first grade, what does your day look like in terms of structured learning? So we'll go ahead and start with Pepper Ma'at.
Well, with the little ones, the preschoolers and your toddlers, it's more of organic learning. It's not so much as structure, and I try to stay away from worksheets and stuff like that. I set up a Montessori type of environment where it's a lot of hands-on and tactile activity. We do a lot of homemade clay and stuff like that to keep them busy, and using that material with counting and with sensory and with the alphabet and reading and things like that. There's a lot of painting and stuff that goes on. So during that time, there really isn't a lot of structured sit-down work. It's more of organic learning. They're able to get up and explore and do, what's at their, ability to get done. And they're also, involved with their older siblings, doing things with them, but it's done on more of a simplified level. So, for instance, we're working on the human body with my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old. They're working on lab books and making little paper models of human body parts and reading different books on the human body and things like that. So, with the younger ones, you really don't want to try to push them into any type of structure if they don't want it, because you'll get a lot of resistance. And they're really not going to learn that way if they don't want to. They're going to be wanting to kind of adventure and go off on our own. So I would try not to stress yourself out too much with structure and just allow them to learn naturally.
Okay, and let's hear a response from Hawkins Academy.
Basically, I'll add on to what Kefra was saying, because it's pretty much the same idea here. We do worksheets more so with when my son and daughters became more, I guess you would call school age, which was the kindergarten age. That's when we actually started worksheets. But before that point, it was mostly reading, definitely math, and definitely handwriting, and just your basic things that you want them to know as children. Your phone number, your address, that type of thing was what we stressed when they were younger. Once we got to kindergarten age, it was like a step into structure, where there's certain subjects that we do every day, particularly math and science and handwriting. Reading is that's almost a given, so it doesn't even really count. Those were the main ones for me when I'm doing my lesson plans for the week, is to make sure that those topics are definitely touched on. Everything else pretty much falls into place as they get older, so it's not something you need to necessarily stress at this point, because like she said, you're going to get resistance, and they're still fairly young, so, you know, play is, you know, the topic of the day. You can get around it, but you don't want to force too much because you'll end up making them not want to do it, period. So that would be my suggestion, is to try to just basically go with the child and their personality at that age, and then once they get older, you start to add in that structured mentality once they get there.
Okay. Well, I'll add my 2 cents. I find that, again, like what Kepler was saying, is that a lot more hands-on activities, such as play, paint, color shaving cream in the bag, pasta, allowing them to create things, make their own letters, count, build things. I did a lot of that with my 5-year-old when he was a lot younger, making a lot of counting maps and making things magnetic and putting them on a cookie sheet so that he could add or create letters or shapes or whatever the case may be. Also, I got a lot of ideas from a blog. It's called 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, and they have something that's called the Tot School. So they have a lot of activities for toddlers. They have activities for preschoolers, and I mean, it's awesome. Like I probably would not know what to do, without it. I mean, on a daily basis, I run out of ideas. So sometimes I'll go there and see what they have to offer, and then I'll, go and just bring it home. So another website, which is really good, is childcareland.com, and that has a lot of, it has teaching ideas. If you click on the link, if you go to childcareland.com and you click on the link that says teaching ideas, it has a lot of different ideas that you could actually set up for preschool, toddlers, preschool, kindergartner. And also, she also has worksheets. She does sell a lot of her worksheets and items, but I found that if you go into the teaching idea portion of it, she usually has free links in that section that you can actually, create things. So I get a lot of my stuff from there as well. So I'm going to move on to the next question, unless Tawana, if you want to answer a question, being that we can't hear you, if you could type your response, and then we can have Ayana read it off for you while we're answering the question. I think I can kind of hear her, but
just a little bit.
No, I can't. It's really muted. But if you could put your response in the chat or something, then we'll have Ayana read it off. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next question. And it says, I'm not sure who asked this question, but it's, how do we keep track of what level your child is on? How do they pass from grade to grade, just in case they may want to go to college? So let's go to Ayana.
We pretty much follow the same format that's out now. Usually whenever my children are out and someone asks them, what grade are you in, we basically go with the highest workbook that they're working on at that point. Like my son right now, he works workbooks that are between kindergarten and 2nd grade. So obviously we would say he's in 2nd grade. My daughter, hers range between 3rd grade and 6th grade, depending on the subject. So once they get into the age of, middle school and high school, I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I don't know how exactly we will work that. But that's how we've been doing it since we started at this point, and that's the only way I can think of doing it now. So as far as our paperwork or whatever you want to call it for the school board is concerned, they never asked. So I never had to actually decide on what grade they're in, per se. So I don't know if other states are different, but I know Florida, they really aren't. They don't harp too much on what grade level. They just worry about if you're advancing to their specifications for the next level.
Okay. We lost a few people here. Okay, so I guess I'll go ahead and wait. We have Pepper, did you want to respond to the question?
Can you hear me? I was disconnected. Okay. Was there a question?
How do they pass from grade to grade? Want to go to college?
Okay, hold on. Camille, it looks like you just entered the group. It looks like you just entered your microphone because we can hear the little ones and we can hear the little ones and we can hear you a question.
Was the question towards me? I'm sorry, I was a little distracted.
Oh, no problem. The question was how do we keep track of the level our children are on and how do they pass from grade to grade? Just in case they may want to go to college.
Okay. Right. Well, my children are not specifically in one set grade. Like my oldest is between 6th and 7th grade. So basically, I would say she's in 7th grade because it's really difficult to talk to someone who's not homeschooling and they're like, oh, what does that mean? So I usually go with what the majority of her work is in terms of how do I make sure they're up to par. For me personally, I really don't keep track of that, but if you're concerned about how to make sure that your children are on the right course, there's different websites you can go to that have a list of core standards and benchmarks and objectives that your children are supposed to meet at certain grades. And there's also books that you can purchase, like core knowledge, everything your 3rd grader needs to know, and books like that. And it basically lists everything that your child will be learning at that particular grade. So you can basically go down the list and see if there's any gaps or anything that they need to work on. There's actually a lot of websites that you can go on that provide old tests, old assessment tests. Some states offer free access to their old standardized tests if you want to go that route. So, and from year to year, the tests really don't change. So if you were using a test from, say, 2010 or 11, it's really not going to change that much, but at least you get an idea of where your children are. So, basically, I would purchase or go to the library and get one of those books. There is a book, however, that I have. It's called it's Creating Your Own Homeschool Curriculum from Grades K through 12. And I believe the author is Rebecca Rupp, R-U-P-P. And she basically lays down every single grade level from preschool to 12 and everything that they're supposed to learn at that particular grade. And it also offers resources and reading lists and things like that. So that's how I would go about doing that.
We have Juana back, so I'm going to ask her a question. I'm going to read the question. Question was, how do we keep track of what level our child is on, and how do they pass from just in case you want to.
Okay. As far as keeping track of the kids' grades, I'm in Florida as well, and they don't ask for that information. But for my children, they have different learning abilities depending on the subject. So on some subjects, they may be moving at a higher level, and I have one child who does all of her assignments on a higher level. But I have her recorded into the school system when we first signed up. into what grade she should be in, according to her age and according to the laws of the state. So the work that I give them is not their grade level, but more of what they comprehend and understand. But as far as the state, according to their age, is the grade that I have them in.
So I'll go ahead and answer the question. We pretty much are all on the same page. I also don't have, my children are on different levels as well. My teenager, she's pretty much on her grade level and same except for one course that she's taken. But again, like Kefra said, I go to the website and pull up a standardized test, and I test them just to see, if they're at level where they should be. And, or I shouldn't say where they should be, because our children all learn on different levels. It's the public school system that actually puts them in that box where at this age they need to be in this grade. So I really shouldn't say that. But just to measure where they're at, I will give them a standardized test or, some form of test, or I'll look at the standards of learning and see, okay, are they doing this, are they doing this, are they doing this? And if they've exceeded that, then they move on to the next level. Myself do have and I think my child is the oldest, so I don't know if it's going to be able to get answers. But as far as moving on to college, I know that a lot of homeschoolers put together an academic portfolio, and I'm just wondering if any of you have began putting together a portfolio in preparation for college. Let's go to okay, maybe let's go to Kefra.
Yes.
Have you begun putting together an academic portfolio in preparation for college?
Right now, my oldest, she is 11 and a half, so we really haven't gotten to that point yet. But I do keep a portfolio of all of my children's work throughout the year. I keep a collection of tests and things like that at the beginning of the year, and then the middle of the year, and then the end, so you can kind of see the progress that they've made. I keep every single thing because I just don't have the room for it. But throughout the years, I have been collecting their various work, tests, artwork. I've been taking pictures of various projects, and I'd say most of my daughter gets into the high school grades, like the high school age, maybe middle school, because she's between 6th and 7th grade right now. Then I will start to really keep track of in regards to credits. But I really don't think that that's really necessary until they're in like 9th grade. Once they hit high school age, then it's more of a track record of points and credits towards certain classes and any type of extracurricular accomplishments and their transcript. So I really haven't been leaning toward any transcript type of record keeping yet. But
okay, I think we lost her. So I'll move on to Rana.
Hey, lady.
Hey.
All right. My eldest is 13. He is in the 8th grade at this time. And he's actually taking some of his high school, his 9th grade courses a little early because of the co-op that we're in. So because of that reason, we do use Homeschool Tracker to keep up with the credits. And it's a great program. They have a free version where you can give the credits for the classes. And legally, you can, in a lot of the states, give them the credits early. I can't remember the name of the lady that I used the book for, but I have to get the book later. That tells you how to actually give credits for the classes and how to write up the course descriptions. All of my children I do like prepare. I keep a portfolio. I have a digital portfolio in case I need to print anything or send it, or if I happen to lose a hard copy. I keep copies of tests and worksheets from the beginning, the middle, and the end, and I scan them up onto a hard drive or onto a USB file to keep for each child, and I do that for each grade. So each grade, I'll load those up for them. I keep a collection of their papers also in like a scrapbook portfolio that I add lots of the pictures of our outings or field trips that we went on and things that we did as well. So my son, like I said, he'll be going into the 9th grade next year, but we did start to make sure that we kept some of those in Homeschool Tracker because it will keep up with all the books that he's read, all of the assignments that were done, and it'll create a transcript out of the courses that we select.
Nice. Great. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move along to the next question, but I just wanted to make sure that Vaisha didn't have any questions before we move on, or anyone else. I see there's someone else in the room. Do any of you have a question?
This is Vaisha. No, not on what was just spoken on.
Okay. All right, great. So I'll move on to the next question. And it says, I'm homeschooling my 6 and 3-year-old, and I would like to know if someone can assist me with building a curriculum. Oh. So let's move to again.
With a 3-year-old, I'm not exactly sure that I would build a curriculum. Like they were saying earlier, with children that young, you're going to get a lot of resistance and a lot of pushback unless you're doing activities and things that seem more like games and fun to them. So anything with blocks that I could incorporate, we did lots of math activities with different color blocks and bears where we could sort them by color and shape and size, and we could count objects. We did lots of, adding of objects that way, but nothing that was truly formal with a 3-year-old. With a 6-year-old, you can build whatever you like, but again, at 6 years old, they still want to be active. So my suggestion is to look and see what it is that their interests are and try to add things that are hands-on, the Montessori type of printables that you can get, a lot of those for free, and put on your shelves. Incorporate things that they can touch because they learn a lot with smells and tastes and texture. So anything like that you can add, books, videos that they're going to be interested in, I would go that route.
Give me 1 second. You can go to Kefra and I'll come right back, or if you want to try to answer, I need to get this phone from ringing.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that. I agree, as far as building a curriculum for 6 and 3-year-old is, to me, it's not necessary. However, if you are new to homeschooling, well, yeah, you would be because this is the Newbie. This is the Newbie Hangout. So, one thing I would suggest is, I'll be right back. I'm going to grab it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So this is what I first started out with, and it's called Learn at Home. And yeah, I kind of like tore all the pages out to make copies, so I have to actually find it. But what it is it's the actual curriculum for the entire year. It has 36 weeks, and it wouldn't be in order. So, for example, this is week 1 here, and it's like an actual schedule of every lesson, and every lesson is actually in the book. So if you are someone that's new, does not know how to build a curriculum, you can use this. And it will go through all 36 weeks. You have all the lessons in here. I would, suggest
I need that writing to get finished so I can
started so that you can purchase any extra supplies that you may need, because all the lessons are in here, but sometimes you might need to purchase a few things from a dollar store or something like that. Or you might need to go to the library and get books that would supplement these lessons. Then you can follow this, and then you can also supplement with something that you come up with. For me, when I told my daughter at school in the third grade, I picked a grade level because I had no idea what I was going to do and how to do it. And I found this book and I said, okay, grab it. So, I like this book. I actually like it. I feel sometimes, hard. I knew and I actually like it very much. So I have been printing and laminating and cutting out 3-part cards all week. So that's another great thing. And it doesn't have to be expensive. I always thought that my degree had to be expensive and all these put in boxes and things and whatnot. But if you go online, Pinterest, you can buy or that Montessori quite a lot of create a Montessori from the dollar question to Kepra, and was currently homeschooling my system, and I would like to know if someone can assist me with building a curriculum.
I'm sorry, was kind of breaking up.
Oh, you couldn't hear me, okay. I am currently homeschooling my 15-year-old, and I would like to know if someone can assist me with building a curriculum.
Okay, is it 6-year-old?
3 and 6.
3 and 6? Oh, okay. I don't like I previously stated, I really don't do too much structure with my 3 and 5-year-old. I do a lot of theme-based activities with them. So, for instance, if your 6-year-old is interested in the solar system, then you can gather books on the planets and, star formation and things like that. You can create a lab book. There's a website, www.homeschoolshare.com, that has dozens of free lab books where you can create and compile a lab book that is in relation to whatever theme that you're working on. A lot of things that I do with them is project-based. Even with the math and the reading, it's all relative to the theme that they're currently working on. So at that age, I would kind of go with just their interest. And you can always go on different websites, and let's say you're dealing with, like I said, the solar system. You can find a website that has a worksheet that have, numbers on it with spaceships on the picture, just so it can be relative to what you're working on. Or you can find worksheets that have moons and stars and stuff like that on. So when compiling a curriculum for them, just keep it really simple and keep it interest-based. While still covering, the basics. I'm sure around this time, you want to start working on phonics and learning how to read, so you can incorporate, those phonetic lessons with whatever theme that you're working on. So I would just strive to go theme-based. Keep it interest-led.
Also, Kepra mentioned the also other websites. The other websites is booklessons.com as well. File mean, I say this all the time, I'm the most frugal homeschooler you can find. I don't pay for anything. So I'm online and I'm printing constantly. I mean, I find so much information online and so many websites. It's like a mental Rolodex of these websites because it's just too much out there to spend your money. So go ahead and check out the Black Book Lessons, the Homeschool Share, the Powerful Fund. There are also other websites in there by subscription. So, does anyone have any questions on that or the Black Book folder?
I don't have a question, but I did have a comment. Another good site that actually has ebooks, which are not necessarily complete lessons, but they're like a theme-based unit, is schoolexpress.com. And I love those because you can actually take per day, you could do a different unit and cover an entire topic. So that's a good website to become a member of as well.
If you're a member of our group, definitely go and check out the resources file. There's just many resources for any kindergarten or toddlers curriculum or activities. We have done some group buys in the group for the School Express and what is it, ABC? Well, goodness, I can't think of the camper. ABC Teach. And yes, so we've done a lot of group buys. So if you're interested in actually subscribing, I know a lot of subscriptions are like $75 for the year or $50 for the year. We've been able to get these subscriptions for like $2. I try to usually get them under $10. We had one, I think, was like $12 or something like that. But we try to keep them pretty low. So that's another thing you might want to look into if you're interested. Because I also love the School Express because of the fact that it's faith-based, and I do most of my units that I do with my children now. I didn't always do this, are faith-based, and what I do is, like for instance, we did a unit on Japan. So for geography in Japan, of course, we studied, architecture and, all those different things. A lot of different, you can touch on everything, even though you're still within that same theme. So, again, if you're interested in doing it that way, I think that would be the best for dealing with smaller children, working in themes. What I did with my 5-year-old is I asked all my children, what do you want to learn about this year? Give me a list of different things you want to learn about. And then I put those together on the calendar and set up all of our thematic lessons to fit what their interests are. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to the next question. It says, I would like to attempt to make our own lesson plans for certain subjects like our stories. But I have read that it's extremely time consuming. Is it really? Sorry. I feel like I can't read this for a second because I'm kind of tired. And is there a format or criteria for newbies attempting to do so? So basically, they're asking, what's the easy way to create African-based lessons or African studies. So I'm going to go to Juana.
Hey there. Okay, I have not made a lot of specific African-based lessons, but I've made put lots of our units in our, I want to call it, a lot of our unit studies together. They can be as time-consuming as you choose to make them. I find that if you're trying to put every piece of what you want them to do it's going to be time consuming. So what I learned to do over time was to look at whatever the topic was that we were studying, and I would go through a couple of books that were different grade levels, pull out the information or certain terminology that they were expected to learn if we were studying that topic. Like we just finished studying leaves. So I would go through and find out, what we could use for parts of a leaf, how photosynthesis occurs with leaves, the different shapes of leaves. And I put all of those things out for the children, and realizing that I have expectations that are different. The older children are going to learn a lot more and remember a lot more than the younger. So I learned I don't anymore tell them that we have to meet all of these objectives. Again, we put it out and try and make it a little bit more flexible because I have 4 and they're different age groups. And because of the time that it takes for you to put all of these things together, it can get overwhelming. So if you're going to do something like that, you can find things that are already made and add to them, alter them a little bit. If you want to make it on your own, again, like I said, you can make it as detailed as you want, but you do not want to burn yourself out with trying to itemize everything that they're going to do each day.
Capricorn, you want to respond to the question?
I can't, it was a little in and out.
Okay, the question is, I would like to attempt to make my own lesson plans for certain subjects like our story. But I have read that it is extremely time consuming to do so. Is it really? And is there a simple format or criteria for newbies attempting to do so?
In terms of Black history or our story, I will say that this year I was very fortunate enough to come across a book by Professor Molefi Kiti called African American History, A Journey Through Liberation. And this textbook is, I would say, grades 5 and up, but you can simplify it. And even prior to purchasing this textbook, I go along a timeline, and I would start with, ancient civilizations and so on and so forth, on through the transatlantic slave trade, to Reconstruction and different things like that. So I know it can be overwhelming, not knowing where to start, but I would say start from the beginning. Start from the earliest history that's been recorded and work from there. And then just try to purchase or check out books that are on your child's reading level, their comprehension level, and pulled out questions or, activities. For instance, we did the geography of Africa, and we looked up the climate and the time zones, and we studied the Nile and the inundation of the Nile during that time with the flooding and everything like that. So we told it, the geography of it and all. And reading that history, we compiled a black book, and we actually made a cartouche out of clay, and we did all those kinds of things. So, I mean, if you look at the whole, it can be very overwhelming because you don't know where.
Okay, so we lost her. Are you there? Yeah, we lost her. Okay, so I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the next question. How do you incorporate exercise, music, and art into your curriculum, and how much time do you spend outside? And that question is from Carissa. So I'll go to Ayana with that one.
Okay. Outside time depends really on if the lessons that we have scheduled to do, if those are done, outside time, which usually is anywhere from 30 minutes and up, depending on the weather, of course. Exercise really is your outside time. I myself, because I do certain regiments, I'll let my children do them with me, Zumba, Taibo, go for a walk, those types of things. And that's something we actually do as a family almost every day anyway, is go for a walk. So we do get that in. As far as sports, we haven't gotten those started yet, just because of moving around. But once we get settled in, we want to, of course, get them into extracurricular sports, Pop Warner leagues, baseball teams, basketball teams, that stuff. You know, things that they're interested in, of course. But we just haven't gotten to that point yet. But yeah, outside time is almost daily. But again, it depends on the weather and what we actually have going on, lesson-wise first. And then comes the outside and the extracurricular, have fun, play type of activities.
Tawana, did you want to answer that?
Okay, for us, we've gone back and forth with this one. I was a lot like Ayana, where we had to get our, lessons and everything done and then we would go outside. But I have one child in particular that just needs to get out. So if I find that they're losing focus, then on those moments, then we can get outside and just go for a walk or let them play a game in the yard. My children have at different times been in different activities that we've done also in the evenings. One was in gymnastics, and my son has done soccer, and those things have worked just fine in the evenings. And of course their interest changes, so depending on that, it changes. It's inside when it's too cold, we do lots of things. I have lots of Zumba videos that the kids like to get onto, and even their connect with some of the games that I'll even let them get on with some of their friends to do some of the bowling and some of the track racing and things like that they can just start moving around in the house with as well if needed to. Music, we do incorporate music and art. I incorporate a lot of music appreciation depending on whatever cultural study we're doing. So if we're studying Africa, we're going to listen to a lot of African music. We're going to do some African art. They're going to draw, look at pictures and things of that nature and pull from whatever culture that they're studying. They also have certain music interests. And I have one that plays a saxophone, and because I was in the band, I can play that as well. Thank you, babe. So I'm able to teach that to him. But they do have homeschool programs and curriculum that you can get for free to teach your child. And I've done a couple on a Google search, for homeschool piano lessons or homeschool guitar lessons and things of that nature that are free if they're interested. Thanks, babe.
The question is, how to incorporate exercise music into your curriculum and how much time do you spend outside?
Well, my children are in martial arts. My husband is an instructor. So they're in martial arts at least 3 times a week. And in terms of like exercising, I have different videos and DVDs that they use like in the wintertime when it's really cold and I don't take them outside to the park and all that stuff. So we have Afro-Brazilian DVD that I just purchased, and I purchased another African dance DVD for my girls, so they could do that during the colder winter months when I'm on hibernation mode and I really don't go outside too much, but they still make it to their martial arts. That is something that my husband makes sure that they do, pretty much whether they want to do it or not, just to get them physical and to provide them with a means to defend themselves in a sense. But they get out. At least 3 times a week, even if it's just 2 martial arts, they get out. And it depends on what we're doing. If they're working on labs or if we have things going on, then them getting outside really is not on the top of my list. But them getting out really has not been an issue.
And I'll go ahead and answer that as well. As far as the exercise, I just had a baby 4 months ago, and I'm in the hospital the majority of my pregnancy. So my children hadn't gotten out and done a whole lot other than just running outside to play. But since we've gotten started back into this new school year, we've done yoga and exercise as well. I actually found a really good yoga for teens or youth, and it actually is called it's called Shanti Yoga, and it's on Netflix. So I've actually utilized Netflix for a lot of their exercise videos. I can go on YouTube, online, and just find different exercise videos for children. I believe, I can't think of the website off my head, but I believe it's Exercise TV has children exercises as well. Other than that, my children do participate in outside activities as well. So my oldest is a dancer, and so she has participated actively in dance class every day pretty much, 5 days a week. She was in dance class, and the younger ones were in dance class once a week. It's kind of slowed down a bit since this baby, but my daughter, my 7-year-old, is on basketball. So she played basketball, and my husband was the coach. And he's actually starting a new, what do you call it? I can't think of what it's called. It's a specific basketball team that he's starting up. And he's going to participate in that again. I am looking into gymnastics for them as well. We don't get to go outside too much, depending on how the weather is because of the new baby. But daily, I open up the door to the deck, and they can go outside and sit in the chair on the deck and you know, do their artwork or just, you know, hang out there. They have new bikes so they can go ride their bikes. We try to do a lot of activities, family activities on the weekend, so they do get out and, you know, they're not cooped up in the house, I guess is what I'm trying to say. As far as the music, I would say that we do the same thing as Tawana as far as what we're studying. We learned about their music. We were actually listening to Japanese drumming for our Japan unit, and just watching a lot of the Japanese dance. We had the opportunity to go to the Japan Festival and also look at some Japanese dance performances. Also, my 16-year-old, she was participating in music lessons. Her homework actually passed, but she actually had music lessons and until up until that point. So we are looking to get her back into that, and even including the younger children as well. She does guitar and piano lessons as well. And as far as art, I think everybody knows my daughter is like a awesome artist. So, as far as I'm concerned, you know, when she was coming up, I was teaching the art lessons, a lot of the art lessons, but mainly I allow her to teach the younger one because she's so, you know, well versed in it. She's very good at it. So over this past unit with Japan, she taught watercolor techniques and been practicing a lot with the watercolor techniques. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, you know, as far as what we do. Whenever I can find that interests them, I put them in it. It's not expensive. If it's for free, they're in it. So, I'm going to go on and move on to the next question. And we have a few more questions. Oh, this is a great one. This is also from Carissa, and her question is, how do you balance lessons and activities between multiple children? So let's go, let's go to Ayana.
Okay, I only have 2. So right now it's not difficult, except the fact that I have a almost 2-year-old, so she kind of takes over everything. But what I've ended up having to do is, while I'm actually doing instruction with one, the other one is doing some kind of self-work, be it read, working on a review worksheet, watching a video, something that can keep them occupied while I'm working with the other child. Sometimes it overlaps, but usually it works out okay. At one point, I actually was doing one child in the morning and one child in the evening, but that got to be like a little overwhelming. So it was better to do it once my daughter, she's almost 9 now, so she does a lot more on her own than my 5-year-old. So I spend a lot of time with him. She gets just as much if she needs it, but most days she doesn't. A lot of her days are more review than they are actual instruction. So it works out, better. Some of the ones with more children than that probably have different methods, but that is actually what works out for me as of now. Once I get to having to do 3 at a time, I have no idea how I'm going to function, but I'm sure something will pop up. If anything, one of these lovely ladies will have some ideas, because I don't know what I'm going to do when I get ready to start doing 3.
Okay, so let's go on to Tawana.
Okay, I have 4, and I have to say that that's one thing that has been difficult for us to work out, and it's not just based on the fact that we have schoolwork to do, because any type of activities or other outside commitments that you add into that is going to throw your day off. Mm-hmm. So we tend to be out a lot because we're in a co-op, and I teach in a co-op, and some of their activities that we take advantage of outside of the house as well. So we've had to learn to be flexible and change our approach depending on those things. Now, when we weren't as active and we were doing things in the home with the 4 of them, I would wake the older 2 up before the younger 2. And if there were things that we needed to work on, that we needed some quiet time and individual time, we would do those before the younger 2 came out. After that, I would give the older 2 children work that they could work on their own. Like they used Spelling City. I would preload all of their spelling list up into Spelling City, and they would do all of the activities. They could type their sentences online, do the vocabulary and everything online, take their spelling tests and everything independently. They also did their foreign language. We used Rosetta Stone, and that allowed me to be freed up to do math with the younger ones. So, and we'd also give them some art activities and things that they could do independently. It is definitely something that I think you have to try out with your children. My eldest he's the oldest, and he's the one that I would like to give him work and think that he would complete it on his own, but it is not his given personality. He is not going to necessarily complete those all the time. My youngest is the one that I could hand her, assignments or give her a list of things, and she will complete every single list. So I think, you have to really know your children and know how they learn, know how they work before you make those decisions, and don't be afraid to try some things out for yourself. And if it doesn't work, then switch it up.
Okay, Cameron.
Well, with my children, I wake up, get this little one started. My youngest, he's usually the first one awake with me outside of my 3-month-old. And in the morning, we'll do like a warm-up at the kitchen table. Like we'll sit down and I'll let everybody know what they need to do individually. And with my 8 and 9-year-old, we do math together. We do like a math meeting. And we do warm-ups, and I get them started individually. My oldest, she is very independent. I can actually give her a list of everything that she needs to do, and she may come to me occasionally for help, but she gets her work done exceptionally fast. Like, I can give her everything she needs to do for the day, and she'll have all of her work done in a matter of a couple of hours, and then she'll have the rest of the day to do, whatever she wants to do. And then she is actually a great teacher, and she works with her 3-year-old brother and her 5-year-old sister. So if I'm giving individual instruction to one of my other children, then she steps in and she works with her younger siblings to help. So that right there, if you have older children who already know a certain, if they've mastered a concept, you can, employ them to, teach a lesson or teach a class, and they'll really free you up a bit. So she's a big help in that area. But I kind of individualize their time. I give them at least 15 minutes individualized time where there's no interruption. And my younger two, sometimes I'll put on an educational video for my 3-year-old. Like, I'll go on Netflix and I'll find like a little video for him to watch for half an hour, so I can tend to the other children, and then give him one-on-one time. Only it depends on the dynamics and how you run your household. But I make sure that I give them all at least 15 minutes of individual time. And if I have to, open up a couple laptops and put in a couple of educational games, to keep the other ones busy, then I'll do that too, especially if they're done their work early. So that's how I do it.
So next, basically, my younger ones get up earlier than my oldest, and my 9-year-old and my 7-year-old is pretty much on the same level. My 9-year-old has a bit of a learning delay, and so it's a little bit easier for me to work with the two of them since they're, working on pretty much the same level. My 5-year-old is really the distractor in the group. So my main objective in the morning is trying to get him occupied and finding something that will hold him. So a lot of times I plan out his lessons and I incorporate Legos and Matchbox cars and things like that so that I can keep him interested, because he can't hold his attention too long. So I do try to keep him still doing the same thing, being that we try to stick systematic, even with my oldest. With her, she pretty much assists me with the my youngest son. Well, not my youngest son anymore, but my 5-year-old son. And I work with the the best thing that has worked for me right now is the Sue Patrick workbox system. And the way that works is, and let me see if I can zoom up this picture. I pulled up a picture of the workbox system. And so, bear with me a moment. Okay, can you see this? This is Sue Patrick's workbox system. And basically the bins are numbered, and they're numbered according to which lessons the child has to do. So they're numbered in an order of 1 through 12. For younger children, you usually don't need 12 of them. There are a lot of people that have changed this setup. Change the setup to fit your spaces, because that right there takes a lot of space. So some people use hang-in file folders and they number them. And what you do is you put each assignment for the day in a different folder so that they can work independently and do each assignment. And then if they need help, they have a little card that they can attach to that folder or that bin or whatever you're using with the system. And then you can come and assist them. That makes it easier for me to work with my 5-year-old and keep the older girl busy. Now, I know Tawana was saying something about her oldest son. I'm the same way with my oldest daughter. She will go and start doing a lesson, and something else will catch her attention, and she has gone and done something else. And even at 16 years old, I have to go back and reel her back in because she's somewhere else. So I try to work a lot with her either in the early morning or after I'm done with the lessons with the little ones. So it's a little bit difficult at times, but I've just tried to create a system that works for me. So I don't completely do the Sue Patrick Workbox system because I don't set up the lessons with the cards and everything like she does. I don't have all these bins. I have like a little case. So I bring your workbox to me so I can show them. I have a little case that I use for each child, and it has folders in it. So each assignment is in that case. Bring both of them. I have an old one, and I've gotten bigger ones this year. But I put all of their work in that. And also, another thing I do with the, okay, so this is the case. So I put all the folders in there, several folders in their case for each lesson. And this was the old case, and it actually had like a little spot for you to put your pencils in it and store your pencils in it. So this is what I use for them to keep everybody, doing their own things. That way, it doesn't get too crazy around here. And again, working with the thematic units, I'm able to still teach everybody the same thing. So I'll teach the basics to everybody, and then I'll go more in depth with my older child. And it worked out better for me that way. And I know I just went off like crazy, but that's pretty much it. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add, or did anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm going to move on. And I'm going to go ahead and just ask two of us these questions so we can move quicker through them. Use incentives for your children to complete lessons, learning activities, and assignments. And I'm going to go to Ayana.
What was the beginning of that question?
Do you use incentives for children to complete learning activities and assignments?
Oh, absolutely. We use the Book It program. Reading is one of the things that I found is the hardest to kind of motivate them to do. So we use the Book It program. We're just now trying the Six Flags Read to Succeed program this year, which my daughter is really excited about. Also, if they finish early, they get more time, of course, on their video games, or they get more computer time. So those are the incentives that we offer. As far as, allowances and all that good stuff, that really doesn't come into play. But just, things that they like to do, they get more time to do. So that's their natural incentive in order to, want to get done earlier, or at least want to put forth the effort that we ask them to put forth in order to get everything accomplished.
Okay, good. Myself, I do as well. I think many of us do the Read to Succeed program and the Book It program. I also do have a support system, and I know a lot of parents don't like to use them, but for me, it works for me because sometimes I can't get my children to use anything unless I'm saying, okay, I'll give you this, or I'll take away this. So sometimes it's positive and negative reinforcement, depending on the situation. Mainly, I do have a point system that I do with the children, and I create a reward box for them. Basically, it's just a little small toys. It has pencils and erasers, and what I do, because my children tend to lose their pencils, and so they earn points, but as opposed to me just giving them pencils, I want to make them accountable for it and make them responsible for keeping up with their pens and their pencils and their other whatever they need for their lessons. So sometimes they have to use their reward points to purchase new pencils because I'm not going to give them a new pencil. So they don't want to do that. So it also helps me to keep them responsible and keeping track of, different things that, different things that they need as far as like their erasers. I have erasers here. I have pencils, and then again, like I said, I have some little toys and rings and all kinds of little things in here. So, I mean, it keeps them motivated for me. And I know a lot of parents don't want to support, in front of their children and say, okay, you can feel like, do it. But for me, it works for me. So, did anybody else want to answer the question? If not, I can just go ahead and move on.
I do a reward box as well. I do the Six Flags and everything. But I use a little box that has little coupons in the drawer. I don't know if you can see it. But it gives them little coupons of things that they can draw from, where they can, they can pick the meal, dinner for the night, or they can play a game of their choice, or stay up an hour later. So you can buy these little things, or you can just print them up, little tickets, and I keep them in.
Oh, what happened? Okay, I'm not sure what just happened, but the entire Google Hangout is now froze. Okay, I don't know. Okay, don't know if that shut down or what just happened, but let's try to invite everyone back. Okay, we're going to try to restart this.
Or did you want to answer that, or is it okay to go on?
Well, like you all, I do the Pizza Hut Boogie program, and this year we're doing the Six Flags Read to Succeed program, and I do take them, like, at the end of the week. If they have a good week, I'll take them to, like, the Dollar Tree, and I'll let them pick out something, like, whatever they want. It doesn't have to be school-related. It can just be whatever. And I find that, like, with my son, I have to keep him motivated. Like, I can't just tell him to go read a book. He's not going to read a book. I have to kind of coax him, into, I give him extra time on the computer, or just go get something just to kind of get him to read. So I do, since I do think that incentives are important, because like you said, I know my husband, he gets bonuses and things like that. And it would be unrealistic for me to tell them that, we were just going to do it just because, but we know the yard.
Okay, so I think we lost her again. Are you there?
Enough
Okay.
to let them know that, you want to get. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
No, she said.
Okay, I think we lost her again. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Okay, the next question, I'm going to, this is also from Carissa. Carissa had a lot of questions. I'm going to go ahead and ask Tawana to answer this question. So since this is something that she's starting to do, unschoolers, do you make lesson plans?
Okay, I've tried this once before, and had to realize that I think the first time that it failed, it was because of my own personal viewpoints and mindset. I am a very structured person by nature, and I naturally look for certain types of order. However, over the years, I have looked at it more, and I have one child in particular that's looking for unschooling, so it will actually work for him. I did not make any lesson plans. With unschooling, it is supposed to be child-led, where you're looking at things that they themselves are interested in, and you help them and encourage them to find those resources. So to get started, what we did over the weekend was to talk about what their interests were. We went to the library, and they gathered resources that they would like to utilize, and we came into the house and looked at what resources that we currently had available to help them. It worked out really well today, especially with the younger two. They were able to pull the resources, they used them, they even asked for worksheets. And we went through the file cabinet and pulled out the worksheets. They picked out the worksheets they wanted to use on their own. So my mindset is to go in. I do not have expectations because they're going to do some days they're going to do more than others, and I have to realize that. But I did not make any lesson plans. I have nothing written out, nothing drawn out, nothing for them. So we're going to see how it goes.
The question was, unschoolers, do you make lesson plans? And I know that you and I both have done some unschooling, even structure during the actual school year for unschooling during summertime. So, do you make lesson plans?
This year, I have not been as consistent in lesson planning just because of the baby, and I just don't have the time to sit and, do all the lesson plans, but I have a layout of what I want him to do during the week. I know what our objectives are. There are moments where there is a lot of just self-directed learning, where I don't have to coax them to do anything. They kind of have an idea of what they want to do, and I just provide the resources and let them go at it, and it really saves me a lot of time. During the summer months, there's a lot of unschooling, because we homeschool all year round, but during the summer months, it's pretty much whatever they want to learn at that time, and there's a lot of spontaneous road trips, so there really isn't any room for too much structure during the summer months. In regards to that, if they have that inkling to really just go on about it themselves, I just let them go. I really don't say, oh, well, this is what we have written down, it's written down in stone, this is what you have to do. It's more like, okay, just go ahead, do what, you want to do. As long as I see that they're working, I don't bother them.
And me as well, I'm also, I did things pregnant at the same time, so we both pretty much did the same thing, and there was not much, there weren't any lesson plans that were made for my entire pregnancy. And, we went from our pregnancy straight into the summer, so again, there were no lesson plans, so we went for a year. And to be honest with you, it was kind of difficult getting back into the swing of actually building up my lessons after that. But no, I didn't do any lesson plans. For me, my pregnancy, I was in the hospital the majority of the time, so my mom was actually taking care of my children while my husband worked, and she was actually just whatever they wanted to know, she was going and getting books for them and creating things. Like one day my 7-year-old wanted to know about numerals, so my mother went through all of them and wrote them down and taught them to her. So it was really based on what they wanted to learn about it. I think my mother did a pretty good job with it because I was a little worried. And when they came to the hospital, they would say, okay, this is what our doctor taught us. So I was pretty, excited that, it worked out well. Yeah, I was trying to learn. My children do tend to work a little bit higher than what their attendance level is. So I felt like if they had felt behind, they really wouldn't have felt behind, but they did pretty good. So there are, for me, I would say with unschooling, there are many separate plans. I mean, unless the child creates a plan that they want to, I want to go to this museum and look at this or whatever. But like Mom said, unschooling is pretty much child-led. But I will say this, unschooling is not laying around. And I think a lot of people think that unschooling is laying around. And, this kind of bug just flew in the window, tell me about it, and then you look it up for about 5 seconds, and then you back to laying around. No, it doesn't work like that. But sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you might be sitting outside, and like, for example, when I first had the baby, in the summertime, we saw this very beautiful bird, and we could not figure out what kind of bird it was. So we were on like the bird websites trying to find this bird. We still didn't find the bird, but anyway, we learned about a whole lot. Of other birds in the process, So it was like a bird watching type thing, and all of a sudden my children want to know about this bird, they want to know about that bird. So I mean, that's pretty much how unschooling is. Sometimes they see something and then they want to learn about it. But just to lay it out, that's not unschooling. So I just wanted to make that clear. But I'm going to go ahead and move on. Actually, do you have a response to this? Have you had any experience with unschooling?
No, actually I haven't.
Okay. So we'll go ahead. Oh, look at you. Hey, Mama, how you doing? I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next question, and it's how do you keep your children thoroughly learning the subjects that you personally find challenging? Oh, that's a great question. That's, again, from Carissa. So let me go to Ayana. Go ahead and answer that.
Okay, I'm bouncing back and forth. Can you ask the question again?
Sure. How do you help your children thoroughly learn the subjects that you personally find challenging?
It falls in line with everything else that, how I set up everything. As far as something that they really thrive in, what I would end up doing is probably extending the lesson. Like if we're working on something and they're just extremely interested in it, for example, volcanoes, that was a big one. So we ended up doing a lot with volcanoes as far as we were making them, we were reading all kinds of books on volcanoes, different videos and everything. We were basically, everything was surrounded around volcanoes for longer than normal as far as the unit was concerned. Other things as far extracurricular like music and that type of thing. My daughter, she's learning the piano, so she's got her dad to teach her that. So we're trying to get that, not necessarily beat it in her head, but that's one of the things that she's actually very good at. So we try to keep her doing it, trying to keep her motivated to do it. That's pretty much the only thing we can do as far as keeping them on something that they seem interested in at the moment. Just keep on it until they get tired of it, pretty much. And if it's really something that they like, they won't. So that's the pretty much how we go about that situation.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. When I get to a subject that I'm not very comfortable with, I'm going to I always look for someone that can teach my child for me. And it hasn't been an academic subject just yet. My son is getting to that place where there's going to be certain things that I'm not going to be as comfortable with. And I've been researching those. I found lots of online curriculum that has already been done. So when he gets to chemistry and things like, things of that nature, there's certain things that I'm not comfortable with. So I found an online class that he will take, and we bought the hands-on kits, and I started reading ahead of time for those. But because I don't want him to miss something, I have already started looking at the online class that he could use to make sure that we don't miss anything at that point. And does not mean that between now and then I will not have gone and read up and gotten as comfortable as I need to with it. But those are some options that you can always look into as well.
We haven't met that roadblock yet. I'm not at the point, where their work is a challenge just yet. But my weak spot comes with calculus and trigonometry. So I know with my daughter, who will be approaching that sooner or later, will need some assistance. My sister, she is a mathematician. She's like a math wizard. So I already know that once my daughter hits that, part where she's into like trigonometry and calculus, she'll be going right over my sister's house. She will be teaching that. So I have people in my family who are very well versed in different subjects. So I know that if I ever have a problem or if I come across a subject that I'm not comfortable teaching, I know I have backup. And in addition to that, there's a community college across the street from me. So I've seen where, parents have put up, they need tutors. So if I needed a tutor for for any of my children, I could easily go get a college student who wants some extra cash and get them to tutor, my children. There's online videos and stuff that I could tap into. But so far, so good. I haven't had to really deal with it just yet. But I know that I have outside resources I can tap into once we get to that point.
Let me jump back in because I think I answered the entirely wrong question. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that point yet because, like I said, I have younger children, so everything is pretty much elementary at this point. But yeah, we would definitely use tutors if needed. My husband, he's got a lot that he can offer, so definitely use the resources that you have closest to you first, and then expand further out if necessary. But with the internet nowadays, there's pretty much anything you need, you can find it somewhere. It may take a little effort, but you can find it. In the way of videos, in the way of tutoring, online tutoring, in the way of co-ops, virtual co-ops, whatever you need, you can't find it. You just got to get out there and look for it, pretty much. But Latia, I wanted to make a note. Vasha, I think I'm saying her name wrong. She has a couple questions. If we could answer her questions and then wrap this session up and then restart, keep all the other questions for the next session. And because this one, so it doesn't run too long, so everyone will still like to watch the entire thing.
Okay, can I answer this question first?
Sure.
Basically, I have run into this, especially with having a teenage child in high school. And I think I remember several when I was first starting high school, I was worried.
I don't jump when you tell me to jump.
How am I going to high school? It hasn't been warning. However, with certain classes, like the science class, for me, it wasn't challenging in the sense that I didn't understand it because I was a science major and I have a degree in science. However, I didn't have the resources that I needed. And I was able to put my daughter in a science Olympiad, and she met with them every week. And that really helped me a great deal to be able to do a lot of the projects or, just have use of microscopes and different things like that I didn't have at the time. So it was challenging for me in the sense that I didn't have what I needed to, teach her. And as far as Ayana mentioned, we have a virtual co-op that we are beginning in January. So this is I'm hoping that this virtual co-op will eliminate that problem of having, some courses that we're challenging and not knowing what to do, because we'll be able to have another parent that's very well versed in that area that can actually teach our child. So, we have so many resources around us. Like Pepper said, we have online. We can go to YouTube, Khan Academy. I absolutely love Think-Well videos. Think-Well videos. I love Dr. Bird, who teaches math lessons. This guy with this, he always having like a really colorful shirt or a really colorful tie, and absolutely awesome lessons. And they are almost like you're sitting right there. So, videos, and I love Khan Academy. They really help out, especially like, even if you're not having difficulties, but I might be busy with the baby, so I might want to still need to get this lesson out, and I can pull up and put it on the big screen and allow them to watch it. And as far as some things like history or government, I'm not that versed in. My husband studied political science, and he's like a history geek. So I have a question, I can go to him and he'll help guys and also teaching, children, minister, religious studies, and all of that. So, I'm really excited about getting up this virtual co-op, because I think that they're everywhere. So I just want to plug them in. So, Ayana, I'm ready for, we're ready for the question.
Oh. I think, is Vasha still here? Okay, there she is.
Yeah, I'm still here. My questions were on the document in the group.
Okay.
With toddlers that are 2 and 3, how much time should I spend on each subject per day? But it seems like that's pretty much been answered already based on some of the other questions that were already asked. It seems like pretty much at their age to kind of go with their attention span. So I guess I've been doing right so far. I've been getting some flack about, I don't have a structure, I don't have a set time frame or curriculum, and I've been kind of like, they don't pay attention to that. They don't stick to that. So, I guess my next question, which would be the more important one, I can skip over one, is what are the different types of homeschool types, and what are the pros and cons? Because I've seen you guys and you speak about, homeschool styles, and again, I'm totally new to this, so I didn't really know other than their structure, and then there's just free with it type of homeschooling. So what are the different types that are out there?
Okay. Well, first, let me just say you're doing fine. As far as how much time to spend with toddlers, I don't think there is a set time. I think a few hours, even if it's an hour. I mean, they're really young right now, so. However long you can keep them engaged, I would say. I mean, because it'll vary from day to day with children that young. So I wouldn't focus on like a set amount of time, or even, if you miss a day, I wouldn't even worry about that, because like I said, it's different. It's different with young children. So. Going into the next question, I'm going to ask Tawana to answer that, because to me, she seems a little more versed in the different homeschool styles.
Let's see. I can answer a couple of them. Unschooling is a term that people kind of float around, and is different to everybody. There are some people who unschooling in itself was meant to be learning that is child-led, that is totally not like the school environment. So it's not where you're going to make guidelines and plans and tell your child what they're going to learn. You're going to follow the interest of the child, okay? So when you see or hear unschooling and you meet people that unschool, trust me, you are going to run across those people who truly just play video games throughout the day, but that is not necessarily what that means. So it carries a negative connotation at times from people who do not truly understand what it was meant to be, so don't be afraid of it for those reasons. I call myself more of a classical, eclectic type of person by nature, and the classical approach is one where it's like the trivium where you're going to touch on subjects and you do it in a cycle. So where you're, for history, for an example, if you're studying the ancient time periods, you're going to study that in the elementary age group. Within the first 4 years, you're going to study it again in the middle age groups for 5th through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then you'll hit classical, the ancient time period again, 9th through 12th. You'll do the same thing with your sciences. You may study biology for a year and then turn around and hit it again in middle school and then in high school. So your classical approach tends to run in cycles that way. There's the Waldorf. And that's one that I am not as comfortable with answering. Someone else would have to answer that one for you. But I know it's a more of a nature-based approach. So someone else who understands Waldorf better would have to answer that. And then there's the Charlotte Mason, which Charlotte Mason approach is a lot more, lots of reading. So if you're studying a certain topic, even if it's math, you'll have books that you go to the library and you read, and you do lots of hands-on, and it's very nature-heavy as well.
Ward off method. And Tawana, could you elaborate more on the Montessori method?
Oh, yeah, Montessori, now that's one of my favorites, and I can't believe I skipped over that one. We do a lot of Montessori. It's lots of hands-on. Montessori has an approach where it's engaging all of the senses, so what the child hears, smells, tastes, feels. I stayed away from Montessori in the beginning because initially it was such an expensive program when you look at it online. However, you can find a lot of these printables and things that you can utilize for free on the web. We use they incorporate 3-part cards. So, for example, if your child decided they wanted to study the frog, that you would find these cards that would help your child to learn the parts of a frog or types of frogs, and you would print these out. One of the cards is going to be a teaching card, and it's going to have the picture of that item and the name of it on the bottom, and it'll also have most of them will have some type of description for that card. And when you introduce that card to the child, then there are 2 more cards that would follow where they're going to be separated. You'll have the picture on one, and then the information or the name will be separated. They tell you to try and introduce only 3 or 4 cards at a time. That way your child doesn't get overwhelmed. So if you were a frog, for example, you would give them 4 cards about the frog that you would go over with them, and then give them the separate cards for those 4 that you covered, and let them match them up. At the same time, with the Montessori approach, you're going to, if we were studying frogs, we might get a tadpole that we would watch it grow through its life cycle during that time. We would also read books from the library about frogs in the Montessori approach as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the card that I made on the 7th continent, and it's knocking down. I'm trying to grab it. But
Okay. And I can put up some websites.
That did help me a lot, just understanding, and I feel like, just based on what you were explaining, I feel like I should I'd rather them tell me what it is that they want to know and go from there, because that way I know I have their attention, because it's what they want to know. And the Montessori, that seems a little familiar to me, similar to like the baby Einstein, and that your baby can read information. And again, mine are only 2 and 3, so I haven't really gotten past, baby Einstein. But it seems like it's similar as far as with like the cards and the separation of the word in the card and having them match it. And then it's a little more detailed. It goes into the touch, taste, sound, etc. So that definitely does help quite a bit.
Okay. I'm going to try and type some of the links and websites that you could use into the box.
Okay. Yeah, I found some really wonderful Montessori and most of them were given to my Tawana. She seems to be like my go-to person for that. I'm very new to it myself, but like I said, I stayed away from it just like she did, because it just seemed, from what I knew of it, it was like extremely expensive. I remember my little cousin went to like a Montessori school, and her mother loved the school, and so when I looked into it and I wanted to try to do it, I was like, I can't afford this stuff. But she told me how it can be affordable, it can be free. I went to a website called Montessori Helper. It's got some really good printables, and just Pinterest, just look in various places. I love Pinterest. If there's something that you want to do, type it up in Pinterest, and you get like a load of ideas with pictures, so you can say, yeah, I want to do that one right there. So definitely, and then move on to your next question.
That was it. Those were my main questions. My last one was can someone teach me how to create both a curriculum and a lesson plan, but based on my children's ages and all the information that we went over today, I don't necessarily need one as of yet. I feel like right now what I'm doing with them is exactly what I should be doing, which is pretty much when they wake up in the morning and they ask me questions, and it's okay, let's look it up. And they say, well, can we play with this, that, and the third? Can we do Play-Doh? Can we read our books? Just kind of go with whatever it is that they're wanting to do, so that way it holds their attention. So that, all the information that was given today, it definitely does help, and it definitely does make me feel better, because I felt like I was behind. Like, oh my goodness, I need to catch up there, but I'm seeing that, for their ages, they're pretty much right where they need to be. I mean, my daughter, she's a little bit more advanced than my son. Wow. I know that each child learns on their own level. Like, she's already doing her kindergarten at 2. She's already reading her sight words. She has everything, like her colors, her numbers, everything completely memorized. Whereas my son is he's more, as you can see this whole time on the video, he's the busybody. She's like, I don't have time for that. I want some juice. I gotta wait. I'm gonna go in my room and watch my ear baby read. She's, he's more of the one that takes more patience to work with. So I'm definitely very, very, very thankful. And once the video is edited and posted in the group, please let me know, because my dude just came home and he definitely wants to have a chance to go ahead and review the information in the video.
Okay, so the video will post probably just a few minutes after we close the video. I also want to say, if your children are beginning to do sight words and reading and math, you can go ahead and add some more activities. Then, like I said, I absolutely love topics. 1 + 1 + 1 and also Yolanda in homeschoolcreations.com her blog is awesome. She also has check that out because she has some really good theme-based activities for them if you do want to start teaching them really different things. Like maybe something based on their favorite something like that, like their favorite book. And they have little activities based on those things. So go ahead and share those things.
Josh, play on it. Why are you doing it? You don't see either.
And I think the link is on
You're going to coach.
maybe I'll tag you with it or something like that.
No, you're not. The house isn't giving you money.
My dude. So, I guess that's it. Go ahead and wrap this up. And I just want to thank everyone that participated. I want to thank you, Tawana. I want to thank you, Ayana, for holding it down and being a technical person here to help us on Deborah, I want to thank questions. Feel free to post
Put that down.
We've answered all the questions because the last question that I have was from Dacia. They were already her questions. So we've answered all the questions from this.
Yes.
And thank you, everybody. And I know this is a close out the industry.
Alrighty, I'll shut it down. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everybody. Good night.